Good Tuesday morning to you all. Hopefully you guys are doing great. We got another Watchmen update here. We got Europe threatening to destroy the U.S. financial system, kind of a serious threat, if they don't get their way at all. They've been cut out of negotiations, and they're super unhappy about that. And they really want to seize those Russian assets. Yeah, they're back at that again. And multiple ceasefires have been violated in the last 24 hours. Multiple ones. This is a big deal here. And peace is looking less and less likely to be on the table for the future here. Minnesota is about to lose federal funding due to excessive fraud. We have the latest on that. And will Israel and Hamas finally sign this peace deal? It's the last hours before this ceasefire, expires. They really need to make a deal, or else this is going to go away. A Canadian airline goes on strike, and insurance rates exploding. And we need to talk about this organic food. That and a whole lot more. Let's get into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade. And these are your updates. If you have something to share, make sure you use that word update somewhere in your comment. The comment can be on this video or on any video on this channel that does get it to the right place. We also do want to thank our sponsors, Genesis Gold Group. They help people with retirement accounts like you. If you have an IRA or a 401k, you can move some or all of those assets over into precious metals. Physical precious metals that belong to you. They have your serial numbers on them. And when you take distribution, they actually just ship them to you. They make arrangements to ship them. If you want to find out more about that or want to find out about the fees, there'll be a link at the end of the video. All right, the European Union and the UK are threatening to sell off a combined $2.34 trillion in U.S. treasuries as punishment if President Trump finalizes a Ukraine peace deal without their approval. Yeah, with friends like these, who needs enemies, right? They want to blow up the U.S. financial system, an economic nuclear weapon, if they don't get their way on what happens in Ukraine. This would spark a liquidity crisis exceeding the 2008 financial meltdown. So if you thought that the Lehman Brothers was bad, this would be way, way worse. It would crash the U.S. bond market and take the stock market down with it, absolutely. Now, are they actually going to do that? I have a hard time imagining they will, because this would absolutely impact them as well. But will the Europeans throw a hissy fit for not having seats at the table? That's quite a possibility. And we now hear how Ukraine is responding to some of the peace talks. President Zelensky has declared that Ukraine will not surrender territory. Wow. So either somebody needs to sit him down and tell him he needs to shut up and behave, or there really is going to be no peace deal, because I think it's pretty stinking clear that at the very least, you'd be talking about freezing the conflict zone or the line of control where it is now. The idea that Ukraine won't give up territory that the Russians physically hold is absolutely insane. As the Russians might just say, you and what army? Anyway, this is a central demand by Russia that President Trump has incorporated into his latest proposal, which is including not only allowing the Russians to keep all the land that they have taken through battle, but also to get the rest of the land that they haven't yet taken from the Donbass and some of the eastern provinces that have been historically Russian-speaking. At some point, you just need to realize that you've lost. And yet, the short man who likes the product from Colombia, the white powder, he just hasn't gotten that. Him and his buddies, who have their supercars and mansions in in all the European capitals and Switzerland and other countries, they're not done yet. They want more money to stuff their bank accounts with before they quit. They really don't care what they're doing to the country. They just need this thing to last a little bit longer so they can get some more sweet, sweet dough. The president of the European Council has pushed back on any attempt by the United States to meddle in Europe's politics. Wait, how is the United States meddling in Europe's politics? Well, the United States has published a new security strategy demanding that the European Union protect Europe. Yeah, can you believe that? The European Union needs to protect Europe, and they need to take lead on things like intelligence and missile development so that they are an asset to the United States as opposed to just a leech. So the United States sends its troops all the way to Europe, stations its troops in Europe, maintains bases, and puts a lot of its hardware and military equipment in Europe in order to protect Europe. And then Europe looks down at the United States and makes fun of us for not having free healthcare and not having all these fancy things and infrastructure that they have in Europe that they were able to purchase because they were not building militaries. They have not supported foreign wars or militaries. Now, we shouldn't be supporting foreign wars or deploying our military to Europe at all, but that's what we're starting to change here. Europe, you're on your own. You can do it, cool, go do it. If you don't do it, well, then that's your problem, isn't it? But the idea that the United States is going to constantly pick up the tab for Europe is bonkers. The United States is pulling out. We're going to leave some of our equipment to the Europeans, but we're pulling out our troops, and we are going to go adios and move our troops back to the United States or to the Western Hemisphere. Dr. Oz, gotta love that Dr. Oz is in the Trump administration. Anyway, he is now threatening to pull funding from Minnesota after $1 billion in Medicaid funding was stolen by fraudsters. As he said, either fix this in 60 days or start looking under your couch for spare change because we are done footing the bill for your incompetence. And the incompetence that we're hearing coming out of Minnesota is truly extreme. Just every single program seems to be abused to nobody's business. And they're just sucking federal money out of the system in order to pay for all these fraudsters. And it's being certified at every step by the Minnesota government. And at some point, Minnesota needs to be held accountable. And that point is today. Or 60 days from today. Anyway, the G7, yeah, this is going to be good, has warned Russia that pressure will increase if peace talks fail. Well, I mean, the G7 is mostly made up of European countries. I mean, Japan's on there too. But Japan's kind of like, you guys are crazy. We don't want to be a part of you guys. Like, if you just want to keep provoking Russia, like, we don't want to be a part of that. What did the rest of the G7 seem to be saying? Frozen assets of Russian businessmen may be used. The G7 finance minister said that they are still looking for ways to fund support for Ukraine. So yes, they're going to use Russian private assets that they've frozen in their bank accounts. They're also going to use the full value of frozen Russian assets until Russia pays reparations. Now, this isn't like assets of the Russian government. This is assets of Russians, individual Russians. And to say that this is a war crime does seem to presuppose that there is actually a war. This is an act of war, and it's a war crime to go after individual citizens. I keep repeating this because nobody seems to get this. Anyway, Japan, because, they actually know what war crimes are, has already refused to participate in confiscating Russian funds. They're like, no, that's wrong and immoral, and we can't do that. We can maybe freeze them. Freezing them is already super questionable, but to confiscate them is just unconscionable. President Trump has aired his doubts about the Netflix acquisition of Warner Brothers, and Paramount has actually already offered more money. So we'll see how that goes. But Netflix is already a dominant force inside the movie-making industry and is destroying Hollywood, which on one hand, I'm super happy they're destroying Hollywood. On the other hand, Netflix is also an abomination, a DEI abomination. Anyway, so President Trump's like saying that's probably not going to happen, or he doesn't think it's going to happen, or there's going to be problems. We'll see. President Trump also is set to unveil a long-awaited farm aid package coming up here, offering assistance of $12 billion to farmers hit by low crop prices and tariff policies. All right, some of these ceasefires that have failed. Thailand's military has launched air attacks. We mentioned this yesterday briefly, along its disputed border with Cambodia. One Thai soldier has perished and 4 Cambodian civilians. Over 385,000 civilians evacuated from the border areas in Thailand, and tens of thousands evacuated from Cambodia, but nobody really has a firm number. Also, Israel has violated the ceasefire with Lebanon with large-scale airstrikes on southern Lebanon. So that is getting spicy over there too. Israel, Qatar, and the United States holding trilateral meetings regarding regional allies to establish diplomatic relations with Israel. And we're in the last hours of needing a deal between Israel and Hamas. That's the Gaza Strip front for Iran. It's complicated. Qatari Prime Minister Sheikh Mohammed bin Abdulrahman Al Thani says, yeah, that's one big name, said ceasefire negotiations between Israel and Hamas are going through a critical moment with a lot of uncertainty over Middle East stability. So hopefully they can pull one out here shortly. Cape Fear says, a while back I reported on the Dollar Tree Omega rice around October 13th, 14th, 2025. There was an immediate countrywide recall of all their rice. Pull and destroy. Do not restock, even if new shipments come in. Reason was quality control. So that's kind of why we haven't been seeing Dollar Tree rice recently. It's because they had rice and it had to all be destroyed for quality control. Not sure what was wrong with it, but not good stuff. And if you had Dollar Tree rice, you might want to check it. E says, Central Pennsylvania, last year my homeowner's insurance went up 30%, and my agent assured me that they were planning no further increases. Well, next year comes, right? Here we are. I got the bill today, and it's up another 15% for next year. Also, my internet, for some reason, went up 25% with no new services. Health insurance is up 20%. How does this work when my salary will only go up by 3% at most next year? Wages going up slightly, and then we have everything else going up like a rocket. People are hurting. People are hurting. Bruce says Air Transat, a Canadian airline, is set to go on strike December 11th. So be aware of that, friends, if you flying through Canada or using Air Transat. Also, they do, if you buy your tickets, you may actually have a leg on Air Transat too. This is already going to happen. Flights have already canceled, and they are grounding all their planes in anticipation of this strike. James says AI is not safe or reliable. Etsy's AI this morning flagged my Celtic cross Christmas ornament as a, quote, prohibited medical device. Not sure how that works, but I am attempting to get through to their contact system to resolve this. It should hopefully be simple if I can reach a human, because it's obviously a Celtic cross. Christmas ornament is not, with all these computer systems, we are more and more at their mercy. It used to be at the incompetence of an individual. It often had to do with the fact that people just didn't know what they were doing, or maybe they made a boo-boo or a mistake, but now we have computers making these decisions. And lo and behold, they're making mistakes too. Paula says, Walgreens is now rounding up and down. I bought at $2.82 and had $2 in rewards, so that made it 82 cents, and the receipts show that they charged 2 cents, show a house charge of 2 cents, which made it 80 cents to me. That way, when he gave me a change from $20, it was $19.20. So I'm thinking it's over, if it's over the 5 cents, they'll round up. Some places are just rounding down, some places are just rounding up. I don't know. But they could be rounding up to 85 cents as opposed to, they're still not getting rid of nickels yet, at least not yet. But when they see this happen, they may want to get rid of nickels as well. NW says, I recently bought some organic green beans on sale. My husband commented that the store-bought food has no flavor. Even though it is organic, the food is often grown in worn-out soil that is minerally deficient. This affects not only flavor, but also nutrition. You cannot just add NPK to soil as fertilizer. It's not enough. Whenever we buy store-bought food, it is a disappointment. Yeah, a lot of this fertilizer, they take natural gas, they send it through the refinery, and out comes powdered fertilizer. And then they take this fertilizer and then they put it on the, or liquid fertilizer, and they put it on the fields, and poof, that soil is ready to be harvested yet again. And yet animals can't survive in that soil. Nothing lives in that soil. Weeds can't survive in that soil. And yet somehow food is growing out of it. Most supermarket food is unfit for human consumption. So why do more people not seek alternatives? People think that if they avoid this or that one thing, they can eat healthfully. The truth is that almost every food sold in the supermarket is adulterated in some way, including the produce. Maybe 50% of what is sold as organic truly is. That's the truth of the food in America. I mean, unfortunately, that's the truth. Prep Missouri says in Kansas City, Missouri, the major electrical company here, Evergy Electrical Co., has been installing concrete walls around transformers and substations, which is about time because we've had a number of attacks that happen on transformers and substations, just people popping them with boomsticks, and they finally are starting to take security seriously. Some walls are as much as 10 feet tall. Some installations have included an additional 1-inch thick steel plating plus the concrete. Also, some substations were completely rebuilt in some locations just across the street. New substations where they were built with terrorist security measures in mind or at the direction of the alphabet agencies. The question is, was it paid for by the electrical provider or Homeland Security? Will this affect our billing? Wonder what took them so long. Was it just the presidential change? Well, I mean, it's been something we've needed to do for quite some time. We have people from every country across the world. We have so many Chinese people inside the United States, people who were born in China, people still with citizenship, card-carrying members of the Communist Party inside the United States, people who actually served in the Chinese military, in the People Liberation Army, right? Well, now they're inside the United States. I'm sure they won't ever do anything bad. C. Smiley Pies says, I have been making my dog's food at home for several months. It is indeed less expensive and far healthier for her. With one caveat, to be sure to conduct ample research into nutritional requirements and use a supplement if necessary. Although the food is super healthy, my recipe needed more fiber, which caused serious trouble with her glands, which resulted in a $500 trip to the vet. So yeah, do your research, make sure you know what you're doing. Kenneth says, while credit card companies are supposed to be cutting amounts on credit cards, my American Express has raised my amount by $1,000 to a total of $3,000. My husband's is still the same low amount. I have not asked for this raise, and I can only believe that since the economy is bad, people are not spending, and they are hoping that this will give people a sense to spend more. Be careful, for sure, friends. All right, friends, if you want to get some more information from Genesis Gold Group, there's a link right there on the screen. If you want to check out another video from his channel, there's one right up there. Thanks so much for being a part of the Watchmen community. I will see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report, out.